ain't scary, homeboy.
We're gonna see.
You ain't scared, bro.
We're gonna see.
You ain't
We
scared.
talk a lot, we here now.
Nobody's
I'm gonna
scared.
break your face. We talk a lot, we're gonna see. We're gonna get in that cage. Let's
Get out of
go.
my
Let's go.
Careful, guys.
I'm here.
Please,
I'm here with you.
Learn some respect.
I'm here with
homeboy.
you.
Have
Me.
some respect, homeboy.
Boy, you a top.
Tomorrow.
I'm gonna teach you that.
Trash talkers like these deserve to get what's coming to them. And for their opponents, we can't imagine how sweet it was to score victories like these. Here's what happens when bully trash talkers get owned in combat sports.
Times change. I believe boxing has come to a new era. Floyd is gone. Pacquiao is here. Come July 20th, he will disappear.
Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao are two fighters who've never been on the same level. Manny is a legend of the sport, an 8-time champion who climbed his way out of obscurity in the Philippines to become one of the most beloved figures in recent boxing history. Keith Thurman, on the other hand, is a guy who, while a decent fighter, has never truly set the world alight in a way that even comes close to Manny's talent. So when the pair met in a fight that was set to make us see if Pacquiao still had something left in the tank, Thurman brought some real heat pre-fight, going the extra mile to drum up fan interest.
I already said he's got these T-Rex arms. Everybody's talking about how fast he is. Man, Pacquiao, T-Rex arms. Pop, pop, pop.
Despite seemingly being outgunned by the much superior legend that sat beside him, Thurman laughed off any notions of Pacquiao still having enough to beat him, ridiculing him for having short arms, which is a funny joke to make considering what comes next. It was good showmanship, don't get me wrong, but this is Manny Pacquiao we're talking about. And boy, did he show it on fight night.
Protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck. Touch him up.
In many ways, this was vintage Pac-Man, a smooth, clinical performance that saw him largely beat up Thurman for the majority of the fight. Those opening rounds in particular showcased some superbly clean work from Manny. And when his knockdown finally came, Thurman, sitting on the canvas, could do little more than sit there and smile, knowing that he had well and truly bitten off more than he could chew.
The ageless wonder, the one and only current WBA welterweight champion of the world.
A clean win for Manny, and one that reminded the world that an old lion is still very much a lion at heart.
Oh no, I'm just excited. Yeah, I'm excited. October 14th, man. I'm gonna knock you out.
The YouTube boxing phenomenon has been tricking some fans into thinking that these novice fighters are a lot better than they are. So every now and then, when one of these guys gets a lesson in real boxing, it's a joy to behold. And we're not even saying that Tommy Fury is a legitimately great fighter or anything, because there appear to be some real holes in his game that will probably prevent him from ever truly reaching the highs that the great Tyson Fury has reached. But to say that he's better than the YouTuber KSI would be an easy pick. By judging off the build-up, it was hard to believe that KSI wasn't the pro. The dude is obviously a professional talker, but the certainty he was conveying to his fans was just on another level. He seemed to know without a shadow of a doubt that he was going to KO this pro boxer, despite the fact that he was a newcomer to the sport, and Fury had been training since he was a child.
I want this. I want this. I want to do what Jake Paul couldn't. Knock you out.
That's ever gonna happen.
We'll see.
All I can say is, sign me up, easy money. And you will be ticked off. Like it or not, you will be ticked off. And Misfits is gonna be over.
No prizes for guessing how this one played out. Tommy Fury, being the actual boxer, basically took KSI to school with this one. There's a very clear difference in their understanding of the fundamentals, and even in comparison to Jake Paul, KSI looks sloppy. He looked a little lost in moments. Fury didn't quite manage to get the finish, but he landed many clean shots on his opponent, testing his chin and his grit on more than one occasion. Can we move on from this whole YouTube boxing thing now? Muhammad Ali is rightly revered as one of the most important figures, not only in combat sports history, but in 20th century culture, period.
When you see what I do Joe Frazier this time, you'll realize that age means nothing in my case.
Okay. But when you see me out there this time, you'll believe that age doesn't matter in nobody's case.
I'm not saying you
right?
old.
But for as much of a hero as he was, people tend to gloss over the fact that he took his trash talking of Joe Frazier to some really heavy places. But during the build-up of their first contest, Ali was in prime form, rattling off poetry with all types of threats mixed in, promising the world that he would bring Smokin' Joe Frazier's rise to a permanent end.
You gonna be smoking, and I ain't gonna be joking. I'm gonna be packing and poking, pouring water on your smoking. And this might shock and amaze you, but I'm gonna retire Joe Frazier.
Ali was so competent in those days, and despite losing a large portion of his boxing prime due to his political stance on the Vietnam War, this unbeaten champion was still expected to put on one hell of a performance against Frazier. Joe was a way less well-spoken character, paling in comparison to Ali's amazing trash-talking skills. But all this time, there was a growing frustration building in Smokin' Joe, and he was about to show up in a big way and prove his greatness beyond any doubt. On fight night, Joe walked the champion down relentlessly, closing the distance with leaping hooks and forcing Ali to fight on the back foot for the majority of the bout's run time. When the championship rounds came, Frazier's pressure was really starting to wear on Ali, and in a moment of sheer magic, Joe leapt in with a signature looping shot and knocked Ali down to the canvas. In the end, the decision went Frazier's way, and history remembers him as the first man to beat Muhammad Ali. Julio Cesar Chavez is a name that any boxing fan with a knowledge of the sport's history will know well. Greg Haugen, on the other hand, is not. But the way Haugen was trash-talking the great Chavez, you'd seriously think that he had some really high-level skills to back it up. Chavez was known for his insane unbeaten record at the time, and when this 1993 fight with Haugen came around, he was already 84-0, having beaten some pretty formidable opponents, although with a large number of easier tune-up fights in between.
The corners, pummels away to the body. And then was Meldrick Taylor.
Haugen, who wasn't expected to cause Chavez too many problems, decided to take aim at his record, accusing him of fighting taxi drivers instead of real opponents.
The way I see it is, 60 of the guys he fought were just Tijuana cab drivers that my mother could have knocked out.
Sure, there were a few cans on Chavez's resume, there's no doubt about it, but the idea that he was less of a fighter because of it was simply not true. Haugen promised a war, where it would be a case of the last man standing, but to say that he underestimated Chavez would be putting it lightly.
Haugen says yes, I'll continue with 1:08 remaining in the fifth.
And the problem is there's 1 minute and 10 seconds, and Chavez wants to go home.
Haugen has never lost by knockout. This could be the first. Chavez unloading.
This was a bullying performance from the legend. He walked Haugen down relentlessly, punishing him with punches that were getting big reactions from their target.
In the corner here, Chavez just said a bunch of punches, and Cortez will stop this. Cortez did stop it correctly, I think.
A first-round knockdown was a sign of things to come, and after a few more rounds of getting battered around the ring, the referee decided to save Haugen from an even worse fate. A clean win for the great Julio Cesar Chavez.
Julio Cesar Chavez.
One of the strangest fights in recent memory saw two of the world's most famous strongmen, Eddie Hall and Hafthor Bjornsson, put the heavy lifting to one side and pick up some boxing gloves. And look, while these two guys are very clearly amazing athletes, boxing is not their game. And considering that they're total giants, the idea of them having any cardio is a bit of a stretch.
End of the day, boxing in the ring is one thing. If you're going to get in the face on the street, that's a different matter. So don't do that.
But Eddie Hall appeared to be relishing the prospect of getting in there and beating up Thor Bjornsson. His trash talk was constant, as he did everything in his power to try and unsettle the mountain.
Where I'm from, if someone wrongs you, you saw it in the street. Unfortunately, you weren't prepared to do that the other night because you're a so we're going to do it in the ring. And you on the deck is satisfaction for me. You don't need apology then. You on the deck is all I need. That's my apology.
But looking back on it now, his attempts did kind of come off as desperate. The pair had to be separated on more than one occasion. And man, it's a good thing too, because if these two got into a brawl outside the ring, good luck stopping them. This was by no means a high-level fight, but of the two, Thor was definitely the superior technical fighter. But man, Eddie Hall's arrogance pre-fight made this one pretty sweet to watch.
That was a wrestling bounce. He looked like he's going to go for a clothesline there.
Well, there was no wrestling. There was no wrestling. I thought there'd be lots of wrestling and pushing and pulling, and there wasn't.
The mountain was just a level above his adversary, and when the knockout finally came, no one was really surprised. Not the cleanest display of boxing you'll see, but it was a good win for Thor for sure.
He can hit me as hard as you want, he ain't gonna hurt me. You know what I mean? He's gonna be damaged, man. I'm gonna cut this boy up. I'm gonna prove to the public, prove to the whole nation that I'm still the man. I'm still the Mac, and that's it. That's period. For real. Like I told you, I'm a different beast. I'm a different animal. I'm not your average 40-year-old. You feel me? Like, I'm a bad boy. You know what I mean? I'll beat him on the ropes. I'll sit there and play with him because my skill's too much for him. I'll beat him on the inside and the outside. If he wants to fight on the inside, let's go on the inside. When he go outside, let's go on the outside. I'll beat him every facet of the fight game. He can't beat me.
You gotta love Anthony Mundine. The dude can talk some trash, despite the fact that it can be hard to take it fully seriously. But when this 43-year-old came up against the rising talent that was Jeff Horn, Mundine made a very confident promise to the world that his age was not going to be a factor in his performance. He told the world that he would play with his opponent in there, and that his overall technical mastery was just way too much for Horn to deal with. Well, unfortunately, age is actually a pretty important factor in the sport of boxing. And Mundine's confidence, though admirable, was about to be proven wrong in dramatic fashion. Horn walked Mundine down as soon as this fight started, and began pelting the veteran with brutal shots, working the head and body to sap his target's confidence. And it didn't take long for Mundine's chin to get exposed. In fact, after just one round of fighting, Horn was able to land a nuclear bomb that put Mundine down for good.
Makes no sense. Tyson Fury just, I think he's a bit of a media, you know, he needs something on his feed about him. I think he's just an egotistic maniac. He needs something about him on his feed every day. So he just says some random stuff to get a bit of traction. Tyson's awkward, he's long, he's rangy. Some days I may outbox you here and there, but I've definitely laid him up before. Definitely put him on his bottom before.
You put Tyson Fury down in sparring.
I don't like talking about sparring, but seeing as he wants to come out and say, oh, he's put it on me in the gym, this and the other, you know, come on, man. You guys know me, you guys know what I'm like. What's he gonna put on me? I'm not scared of Tyson Fury. You know, I'm not scared of him.
Dillian Whyte is a damn good fighter, sure. He's not the best in the world, but to rise up as high as he did in the heavyweight ranks takes a lot. Unfortunately, in some of his biggest fights, Whyte's mouth has written him checks that he couldn't cash in the ring. His bout with Anthony Joshua was a real example. And of course, this matchup with Tyson Fury. Whyte, throughout the build-up, accused Fury of being fake and a total egomaniac.
He just talks rubbish. Oh, mental health, this, that, and the other. No one talks about his steroid ban, his clean brutal ban and all of that.
Concerned only with getting his name in the headlines by any means necessary. He also claimed that past sparring sessions between them had resulted in him laying Fury out, telling the world that his confidence in his ability to beat a guy like the Gypsy King wasn't coming out of nowhere. Fury, being the type of guy he is, was more than capable of shooting Dillian's attempts at mental warfare down. But Whyte continued, accusing Tyson of pretending to give money to charity, asking him for proof that it happened, rather than just being a half-baked publicity stunt. Seems a little heavy, right? Well, when it comes to taking on the heavyweight champ, you gotta do something to get the momentum in your favor. Unfortunately, it didn't help him on fight night. Now, this was the Tyson Fury show right from the get-go. As soon as this one kicked off, it was clear who the better fighter was. Fury's speed, his technique, that reach, it was all getting the better of Whyte. And in the middle rounds, with Tyson in cruise control, he managed to land a devastating uppercut for the finish, marking one of the best one-shot knockouts of his career.
Fury with the uppercut! What a punch! He doesn't know where he is. The bell might know it's off. It was totally unexpected. I don't think anyone was expecting that shot. It came from nowhere. Tyson Fury still the champion. What a finish. What a peach of a right uppercut.
Who knows how the sparring session actually went, but man, this was a conclusive performance.
Holyfield should knock him out within 2 rounds, maybe 1. But if I fought him, I would kill him.
He knows what he's gonna get. He's good. He's a great fighter and all that, but you out of your league, man.
One thing you gotta understand, you ain't no fear of me.
I'ma like this. I'm gonna have a good time in this fight.
We're in the hurt business. Yeah, I want to hurt him.
Evander Holyfield, the champion, continues to pursue Tyson, the challenger.
He says he wants to fight, you know what I mean, with his mouth. But you never heard him, you never seen him come up to me and say, Mike, let's get it on. I want Mike right now. I don't want nobody else but Mike Tyson right now.
That's what Tyson told us 12 days ago. So Evander Holyfield responded by placing an ad in all the Las Vegas newspapers.
The only thing I was treated different than other inmates was that I was treated worse than they were because I was Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson was simply not the same guy when he returned from a stint in jail to try and recapture his momentum in the heavyweight division. For years, Iron Mike and the legendary Evander Holyfield had been pegged as potential dance partners. They even came into the pro game from the amateur circuit around the same time. Tyson was clearly looking to knock Holyfield down a few pegs, though, telling the world that while he saw Evander as a great fighter, there were levels between them, and he was about to relish the prospect of showing the world that he and Holyfield were not equals. Tyson was angered by a comment Evander supposedly made, where he told the media that he would not defend his belt against someone who was convicted of the crime that Tyson was found guilty of. Evander insisted that his words were misread, but either way, it sparked a real feud, and Tyson seemed to be genuinely excited about the prospect of getting in there and putting a beating on the guy. Unfortunately for Mike, he was correct when he said that he and Evander were not on the same level. In fact, Holyfield was a much better fighter than he could have ever anticipated. And round after round, he proved it, beating the fearsome Iron Mike badly.
For a perfect fight. No matter what happens from here on in, we honor Holyfield. Holyfield continues to dig in. A left hook to the head. He's got Tyson in trouble. Tyson's ready. A snake right here. The Chavez stops the fight. And Holyfield has won. I can't see. It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever been privileged to witness.
Until eventually he managed to score a huge finish to put this rivalry to bed for a time.
Oh, and some nasty stuff in there. There looked to be a bite almost. Holyfield is very unhappy. Look at this.
However, any boxing historians will know that their rematch was an even bigger spectacle. You know, the fight where Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off? Yeah, this is a real rivalry, folks.
You got Tyron Woodley now. No problem. That's why I got the ski mask on. They're going to give me a big bag to go and beat the guy I already beat. It's a bank robbery.
I just bet I beat his ass. That's my bet.
I'm a eat your ass. I'm a beat your ass.
I'm not falling for that. When did the referee ever come towards my way to save my life? When did you hurt me? When did you nearly put me to the canvas?
7th round overhand right.
Yeah, you
Picture
know what
that's on
happened
my Instagram
right?
with your head
got
going.
Back in your face like
and
Thurman.
you fell forward into my arms and I caught you. I saved your life. It was a bad night and I still beat you.
It was a bad night.
And you should be embarrassed by that because I beat you on a
Saturday's
bad night.
Gonna be a bad
my
night.
First time going 8 rounds.
That was
first time
that was
ever
a
getting
Christmas
hit by
gift.
a 10-ounce glove.
August
So
29th was a Christmas
You
gift.
don't know.
December 18th,
You don't know
Saturday
what's
night is going to be a
coming.
bad night.
How will you be different this time around?
You'll see.
Tyron, how will you be different?
I don't need to be different. I just need to go out there and get it done this time.
Jake Paul might be a part of the unavoidable noise that's come from the world of YouTube boxing, but he's undeniably its most effective member. Sure, he made a habit of picking off aging MMA fighters for sport, but hey, that's a great way to legitimize yourself. And back when the experiment was in its earlier days, before Nate Diaz, before Anderson Silva, Paul was taking on a pretty credible opponent in the former longtime welterweight champion Tyron Woodley. And their first fight was a pretty even contest, all things considered. Okay, maybe it wasn't the best thing you'd see all year, but compared to the Ben Askren fiasco, it was definitely a step up. In the end, Paul did enough to get himself the win on the scorecards. But when Woodley signed up for the rematch, it brought some added heat to his trash-talking game.
And Saturday, my bro, you better pack a lunch because I'm going to be on your fucking ass the whole time. You can run away. I'm going to hit you every fucking place.
So you will
your
be
body.
on my ass.
It was like he was extra confident that he could pull the trigger after getting a sense for what Jake was capable of in there. But here's the thing, as Woodley got older, Paul just got better. And though their rematch was by no means a classic, it had one huge moment. This fight was pretty quiet up until the 6th round, where Paul landed a huge shot that put the chosen one out. It was a remarkable punch, and one that stopped Woodley's pre-fight confidence right in its tracks. Plus, it served as the perfect highlight moment for this budding boxing sensation.
Tomorrow won't be a short night. It's going to be a long night. But nobody going to second guess you after tomorrow night. Thank you for bringing the dog out of me. Tomorrow we battle E-Real.
Woodley might have been all talk pre-fight, but now there was very little he could say. Tyron never did return to combat sports after this one. And on a run of losses like his, it's one terrible way to end a truly great career.
And they should have. They needed more warm-ups. They needed to get themselves convinced that they're their best when they know they're not. And don't he dare ever, he better not ever say he got me to big-time boxing. Ever in this game, I'm a slapper. Don't ever forget, when I found you, you was strung out on coke. When I found you, you was like a big house, contemplating about killing yourself. So don't you ever forget who brought you to big-time boxing. I drugged you back. I brought you back. I provided food and put food on your table for your family to eat. And I'm doing it for the second time. So don't you ever forget that.
Deontay Wilder, a very good fighter and an amazing power puncher. But man, his lack of technical ability was exposed in a huge way by Tyson Fury the first time they met. Despite being out of action for years, Fury returned to the ring, shook off the ring rust, still ruled the bout a draw. And for some reason, Wilder was acting like he was king of the world when the rematch came around, speaking with a level of confidence that he had not earned. The dude hits big, but in there with Fury, he was made to look very one-dimensional. But still, he continued to trash talk relentlessly.
He was fighting talking big mama. I told you, I said, Fury, get your fat ass up. I said, you get in that gym. I said, I dare you to come back. I said, you won't come back. And what you did?
Get his hand raised. Fury, who definitely had his own fair share of trash talk, actually had good reason to be confident. You know, because he actually showed himself to be the better fighter. It's placed. There's only one Gypsy King, folks.
I hit you with that left hook. Yeah, what else? You're gonna see watch. When I hit you with it, you're gonna be like, what? You're on the floor. Sleep. Good night. Exactly. What else? Then you're gonna wake up in the hospital. What else? I'm awake now. What else? You're gonna wake up. Then when you wake up, then what? When you get slept. All right, you're gonna see in the ring. You're gonna see in the ring. Okay. Oh, thank you. You gave me everything. You gave me. Listen to your coach. You're giving me everything, Dad. I know what I gotta work on now. Good one. You're so smart, man.
2023 was a great year for boxing. One that saw many different high-level fighters sign on the dotted line for long-awaited super fights. And considering just how much people tend to rag on the sport for not making these fights happen when they should happen, it was a great sight to see. One of these big-name bouts was Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, a collision of two bona fide superstars of the modern game, two fighters that immediately got into their trash-talking exchanges. Garcia, the younger fighter of the two, was definitely the more vocal, and he basically didn't stop taking shots at Tank all the way leading up to the fight itself. In his eyes, he'd been wronged by Davis due to being forced to cut extra weight down to a division that favored his opponent. But even still, King Ryan seemed pretty dismissive of Tank Davis's skills, which in hindsight was probably not the best idea.
But guess what? I do hit hard. And when I hit you with that left hook, yeah, what else? You're gonna see watch. When I hit you with it, you're gonna be like, what? You're on the floor. Sleep. Good night. Exactly. What else? Then you're gonna wake up in the hospital. What else? I'm awake now.
This was a real lesson for Garcia. There are levels to the boxing game, and it was clear from the get-go that these two were definitely separated in that regard. Tank was just too technical, way too powerful, and on fight night, he butchered the young man in there, landing all manner of powerful shots before then getting his opponent out of there with a huge body shot in the middle stages. A confident performance by a modern great.
Crashed that bike into the wall. He was trying to make the cycle break. Now I smash for 3 minutes like cycle breaks. Now I only create what the pyros make. Yeah, I'm talking with the mouth of spiral make. And I do it.